What's poppin', y'all? It is your boy Gardy3. Welcome to the And One podcast. I appreciate you guys for tuning in for our, eventual watch along. But look, I had to hop on early and drop some breaking news. I even skipped the intro just so I can say this. The Los Angeles Clippers are trading James Harden to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Darius Garland and a second-round pick. I repeat, we got ourselves a trade. James Harden for Darius Garland is official. Wow. And the Cavs, they got a second-round pick out of it. So that's wild. If you told me before the year started James Harden was going to request a trade, it wouldn't have shocked me because I didn't really have that much faith in the Clippers. But the way that this whole thing just went down for the Clippers to lead to the James Harden trade request, to me, that is wild. I'm shocked. I'm shocked with the way this all went down with the Clippers because it's just wild. Wow. Like I said, I'm shocked. I would have thought Harden would have requested a trade, earlier in the year, but here we are. They won 16 out of the last 20, and then he's like, "Oh, by the way, I want out." Kind of speechless. I'd love to hear what you guys think, by the way, of that breaking news, because that is, to me, that is just crazy. Wow. I would have never thought that if you would ask me before the year started, out of all the teams that James Harden could have went to, I would have never told you the Cleveland Cavaliers. But you know what? There's a lot of potential there. He's great with rollmen. So I'm curious to see the work that, him and Jared Allen do together, unless they trade him next. It's weird in the sense of the age difference, but say Garland is already 27, and he's on the books for longer than James Harden, who now you can have the inside track of resigning, or you can get some cap space a little early. You're not on the books for the rest of that Garland contract. So, like I said, overall, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on that. But yeah, welcome to the watch along. Like I said, the game will be starting soon. At some point, I believe around the second quarter, the greatest co-host of all time will be joining us. I did like that. Vooch is a very, very reliable center, and I think the Celtics are a great move for him, a great spot for him. Say T3 and D, you just catch the news that just dropped. What a wild time we're having at the trade deadline now. Now everything's picking up. But yeah, no, I did like Vooch to the Celtics. We knew Simons wasn't long for he wasn't long for Boston, so flipping him to Vooch, who gives you some much needed center depth, I think was a great call. Hey, I got to give the Celtics centers credit, though. They held it down. Shout out to Celtics legend Neemias Queta. You got. Here we go. We got the intro. I do love that they brought him back. Here we go. I do love that they brought back the starting lineup. That is so cool. I've liked so far. I can't wait to get Mo on here so I can keep talking the moves to him. For sure. I can't wait to hear his insight on these moves, but I also can't wait. I also did like the I think the Jaren Jackson move for the Jazz was interesting. I think it's fun. I love seeing the Jazz make a big move. Look, you can't stay in mediocrity forever. You have to take chances. And Utah took a big swing going for Jaren Jackson Jr., which honestly I can respect. I say this intro video stuff on Peacock always gets me hyped. Woohoo! Wow, what a start to the trade deadline. Trade rumor: Kings receive R.J. Barrett and Jakob Pertl. Raptors get Sabonis and McDermott. Pertl is only a contract that if I'm the Kings, I'm taking him on if I'm getting like a first and a second. Like I think Pertl is such a bad contract that it would require multiple picks to move off of. It wasn't a good contract when he signed it. He was already having back issues and health issues, but it's just progressively gotten worse. And we're at a point where the extension, I don't even believe it kicks in until next year, but they're going to have to probably move multiple picks to get off that one. So if I'm the Raptors and I can get off of that Jakob contract, whatever, it's worth it. I would absolutely pull the trigger. Say the Raptors, like I said, the Raptors are playing a lot better than I thought they would. I'll give them all the credit in the world, especially without, with missing Jakob, who they clearly thought was going to be a big piece. I would have never guessed that they'd be fourth in the division, closing in on the All-Star break. No, they can't. They could waive it. They could just stretch and waive it, but they don't have the amnesty clause anymore. So I was trying to figure out when. I don't know what the Bulls are doing. You can't convince me that they. Okay, on one hand, I like collecting young talent. I'm always for it. I don't mind them getting Simons, but also then they added Conley, and then they added Jaden Ivey, and now I'm just completely lost because I'm like, okay, well, you have 8 guards. Are you running an all guard rotation? Like, are we getting that Josh Giddey at the center moments? Nah, Ayo Dosunmu at center, but no. No, I'm always down for. It feels like with that trade, Minnesota, that was definitely a precursor for them to make a bigger move, in my opinion. Say Huerter and Saric. You know what's funny? I didn't think you'd have to spend like a king's ransom to get Jaden Ivey, but I thought it would take a little more than Kevin Huerter and Dario Saric. And Detroit received a protected pick swap too. So, no, to me, if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves, you're only making that move if there's something bigger coming. The thing with Herter is he's struggling with the shot right now. Yeah, he is struggling. I think he's got like 30% from 3 this year. So, granted, I think that looking at Kevin Huerter, he has a lot of similarities in the sense he's more of a great movement shooter, kind of like Duncan Robinson is. So I do think that the bounce back potential is there for Kevin Huerter. Ooh, good block. Say Najee Marshall. Go Derek White. And rims out. All right, here we go. We got Cooper Flag. Oh, gets a pocket pick by JB. Woo! Cookies! Make sure. Yeah, Neemiskate has been so good for the Celtics. JB, stop it, pop it. JB balling. Give him all the credit for that. JB is balling. Oh, yeah, yep. Caleb. That's a goaltend. Here we go. Let's see what Derek White's got. Say, I do think the fit in Utah is interesting. I think the draft, if they JB feeling it, oh, that step back to back iron. No, especially if they get a nice they get a nice draft pick to get a point guard and playmaker to bring it all together. I'd love that. Oh, say say if they manage to get if Utah somehow gets number one and gets like Darren Peterson, watch out. That would be terrifying. Derek White for three, short. Go, Derek White. Hauser for three. That's good. Here we go. We got Cooper Flag. Here comes a Gafford ball screen. Trying to. Oh, yeah. JB got all arm there. Looked like JB tried to take a chance and do a little. Try to sneak up on him and get a steal, but he accidentally got all arm. No, I think that trade between the Pistons, Wolves, and Bulls, I don't think that's done yet. Flag with a little float. A little 10-foot floater right there from Coop. Oh, here comes JB. He wants. Oh, he's got Martin on him. He's going to bully ball his way to the rim. Surrounded by three Mavs, and his shot is off. Go, here comes Najee Marshall. He's running a little screen and roll action. Tries to shoot over Derek White. Gafford with their offensive board, and he draws the foul. Say, now I'm curious to see what the Cavs' next move is too. I'm guessing Jared Allen's gone. I felt like last year. I thought last year they were going to trade him in the offseason, but I guess that didn't happen. There we go. Here you go. Nemus to Derek White. Trying to throw up that lob. Hey, what's good, Connor? Cool. Say, good job, Max Christie. Is that Shireman? Yep. Does up a little float. That's going to be short. Flag grabs the board. Yeah, no, I'd love to hear your guys' thought on the NBA trade deadline. Say, I'm sure Missoula, I'm shocked ain't going to call timeout after that one. They just kind of let Najee in, no problem. But this is a nice run here from Dallas. Need a response from Boston. And now JB, he missed, got his own board, and puts it back up and in. So 8-0 run by the Mavs ends. So here we go. Another pick and roll action between Flag and Gafford. Yep, it's a done deal. That let's say James Harden to the Cavs for Darius Garland and a second. So the Clippers not only got Garland, they actually got a second round pick out of it too. Ironically, I think Celtics almost tipped it into their own basket. Ironically, I think those two teams play each other in 2 days, so I guess won't be. So it'd be kind of. I wonder if those two suit up for their new teams right away. Well, I think Garland's still hurt, so I don't think he's suiting up. But look, I'm sorry to hear it. I'm sorry, Kyle, but oh, Celtics didn't get back. Cooper beat him down the floor. Say, I'm pretty convinced if the Celtics could trade you for a second, they probably would. Sorry, you've been traded to the Pelicans. You're a Pelicans fan now. Najee, short. JB clears. Oh, wow. Mavs dodged a nuke right there. Left Derek White completely unattended in the corner. Cooper Flag's going to get downhill, but he's off the mark. Here comes JB. He's going to come right at. Oh. Again. Shireman's off the mark. Mavs can't just keep leaving shooters open. It's going to come back to bite him. Christie says short. Here comes JB. JB's going to go between the legs. Step back over Najee Marshall. You bet. Say, JB's cooking so far. Give him all the credit in the world. Yeah, no, I'm hoping we get more trades in the next couple hours. That'd be a lot of fun. The more active deadline, the better. Say, I'd love to get man. I wonder what how's Cottrell's feeling right now. Say, our boy Cottrell, he's a Cavs fan, so I wonder how he feels about getting Weird Beard. All right. So, had a lot of, like I said, we've had a lot of fun in the deadline today. We've had Jaren Jackson getting traded to the Utah Jazz and netting 3 firsts. We've had Mike Conley getting dumped from the Timberwolves. I think that's a precursor to a bigger move. We've had a James Harden trade. Love it. Like I said, give me more. Just give me all the trades today. Quite frankly, give them all to me today, so I don't got to be worried about my phone for the next 2 days. Give me all the big ones today. Say, I don't think Simons is long for Chicago. I feel like that they kind of did it for the second round pick and the expiring salary slot in all reality. It'll be interesting to see what Chicago does. They're clearly pivoting away a little bit from whatever core they got now. I'm guessing the only keepers are probably going to be Giddy and Matas Buzelis. And whoever they get in the draft. I too would love Ayo Dosunmu at the center minute. See, you see the vision. You see the vision. Don't tempt Billy Donovan though. He just might. like I said, I'm curious to the curious to see if the Bucks make any moves today. I know they're playing right now. Say, I know we're facing Chicago, which means we're probably going to find a way to disappoint. So yeah, like Chicago's 11, and we're getting killed right now by Ayo Dosunmu and Jaden Smith. You're gonna kill Will with that. Patrick Williams getting 35 minutes a night. That you know what? That would lock in the tank. Just go all in. Patrick Williams, 48 minutes. He doesn't leave the floor. Man would play full 48 minutes and still find a way to be non-existent out there. Come on, Caleb Martin's gonna stop, pop, and hits it. 15-14. We got ourselves a close game to start this one out. So here we go. We got Caleb Martin, a handoff to Cooper Flagg. So he's just gonna go right to the rim, takes it right at Garza. Too easy. I honestly thought that was gonna be a foul too. JB almost loses the handle, but he gives it to Garza. Little handoff between him and Pritchard. Spin. Good finish. Shout out to Luke Garza for that little Gortat screen down low. So here we go. Coop. Oh. Cisse. Nobody guarded him. Nope. He went to pass, and then he realized that there was nobody in front of him. And he's like, oh, never mind. I'll take this. Ooh, Luke Garza. Ball fake. JB's gonna get downhill. Almost lost it. Shot short, but here comes Garza on the boards and puts it back up and in. Whew. So here we go, because Max Christie have a response. Looks like they're going to run some off-ball action. A little pin down for Cooper Flagg, who's going to get going downhill. Corner three for Martin. It's good. 21-19. Both teams are making shots today. This might just be a shootout. Go, Pritchard. He's got Cisse on an island, one-on-one. Stops, pops, and hits. So there was a whistle. Okay, ball, we're just kind of rolled too far away. All right. Here we go. Here comes Matt Christie. It looks like they are just pressing Cooper full court. Here's Caleb. They're going to set a screen to. Oh. Oh. Yeah, no, that was some good defense initially by Jordan Walsh. Poke the ball out. But once he got downhill, yeah, there really wasn't anything for Walsh to do at that point besides foul. Garza has been relentless on the boards. Ooh! Oh! Good hit. Jaden Hardy just completely loses JB and hits a three. Here comes Pritchard going downhill. I want you to watch Luke Garza on these, because the way he just rolls and immediately screens off the big man so he can't get to these shots is awesome. So here we go. Here comes Cooper Flagg. He's going to wait for the screen, but they're just going to ghost it. He's just going to go try to take JB one-on-one. Stop, pop, and it's good. What a hit. This Cooper Flagg kid's pretty good. Here comes Pritchard. He's going to go after Cisse. Oh, he's going to give it to Hugo. JB now returns the favor. Loses Hardy. 15-footer's good. Say 26-25. Here we go. Say Coop. Oh! Play is Hugo. Payne Pritchard for 3. It's off. So here we go. Oh, what a turnover. Hardy passed it to Cisse. Wasn't ready for it and just hit him in the face. Walsh with the pump fake. Tries to lose Hardy. Doesn't work. They're going to kick it out to Pritchard. They're looking for Jaylen Brown. He's got Clay on him. Let's see. Face up. Oh. Oh, they call the foul. This might be a challenge. So here we go. So yeah, I think Utah must really believe, because one of the picks, it seems that they're really banking on at least being in a play-in team, because that pick swap that they traded for 2027 does include their own pick. So they're sending the Grizzlies the most favorable of, I believe it's them, the Cavs, and another contending team. But they get the most favorable of those picks. So I think the potential is there if you add in the right playmakers that can help set. Because obviously Jaren isn't going to be setting himself and everybody up. You prefer guys like Danny Ainge is building the 80s Celtics again. You know what? That's valid. Oh, I love it. Yeah, that's great. I think the potential is there for Utah Jazz. I don't think they're going to jump all the way up to a playoff team next year, but if the lottery odds fall their way, and they can get like I said, if they get lucky enough to get one, yeah. Oh, absolutely. I get what you're saying. Hey, I think Walker Kessler will get paid this year by them. I don't think he'll anything too crazy, but he is a restricted free agent. I think it's in due for a nice contract. That's going to be the most important position actually to address. Look, Laurie is big for his size. Jaren is, big. Jaren's a big dude, but neither of them are particularly good rebounders. It's been well documented. Kyle Flipowski it's been documented Jaren's inability to grab boards. So I think Walker Kessler all of a sudden just became priority like number 1 and 2 this offseason, because you need a strong rebounder down low to really complement these two bigs. And if the three-point shooting can be real, because he's been experimenting with it at times, even if he can start knocking down some corner threes at a good clip, that this could be a fun team to watch. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Of course, can't forget about Ace Bailey. They're slowly bringing him along. I agree. He's so good at everything defensively, but he's so bad at the one thing a big's supposed to be good at naturally. It's so weird with him. That's why I have so much. I think this has so much potential though, because Keontae George is just so bad on defense. But I think you put guys like Jaren Jackson, Laurie, Kessler. That's a lot of size. That's a lot of size to help deter shots at the rim and force hopefully a lot of mid rangers. I'm imagining the defensive game planning will be as JB. It's the first one. And I think my favorite thing for All-Star Weekend that's coming up is they announced the team and team captains for the celebrity game. I feel like they did this on purpose. They put JB missed the second one, and that's going to be Celtics ball. You know what's funny? They put a Shams on Team Giannis. I really want Giannis to be petty and DNP coach's decision for the love of the game. Kata! No, I agree. Jared's just such a bad rebounder, but like I said, I think that's why it's good that you put him in a spot with Kessler and while Laurie's a below average rebounder at the 4, between him and Jaren, I think you can cobble something up there with there at the 3 and 4. That's a lot of sides to deal with. JB's off the mark. Say Najee flips it up to Hardy, who's going to get a screen from Gafford. He's going to roll. Tried to box him out. Here comes Najee. He's going to get going downhill. He's going to go put a shoulder right into Hugo, and that's short. JB corrals the rebound. Say Pritchard's already calling for it. He's in range. He wants to shoot this so badly. Pritchard stopping, popping. Oh, no, he flips it, shovels it to Guido, puts it in. I thought Pritchard had that look in this. I thought he was shooting this regardless. So, I just call him Guido. I know it's Kata, but I don't know why. Oh, Hugo. Gafford ball fakes Kata and it's an easy 2 out of it. Here comes JB. Say, ow. Clay just got killed on that screen. Derek White with a wide open warm-up shot. Here we go. I'm curious if we could see a Klay Thompson trade happening for sure. I just don't think he fits with this current version of the Mavericks. Oh, defensive 3 seconds happening right before the illegal screen. Great timing for Dallas. So we're getting a technical free throw for a defensive 3 seconds. Oh, rolls out. So here we go. Derek, whoa, White's just going to pull it. Oh, well. White was going for the 2-for-1, but he left it way short. Say, wonder if a Kawhi Leonard trade's going to be coming soon then, or this offseason. Say, Nemhard just kind of does some gnashing, but good steal. Gafford loses the ball. Here comes Pritchard. It looks like they're going to hold for the final shot. Gonna screen. Hand down, man down. Pritchard is money. Jaden Hardy got caught. Hand down, man down. Pritchard elevates and just knocks it down. Oh, I just got an update on my phone. I thought it was another trade, but it's just telling me that Harden's going to the Cavs again. Say, I do have a question for you guys watching. What do you guys think of the Harden and Garland trade? If you were to grade the trade for both sides, what would you give it? Say so, yeah. Like I feel like I don't know if swapping out Harden and Garland is enough to push the Cavs over the top. It almost feels like another move's coming. Say it. It'll still be interesting. While I do think that Garland is B minus fair. It's interesting because Garland is younger, but 27-year-old Garland just isn't even as good as 36-year-old James Harden. And one of the biggest problems with Garland is as much frustrating as James Harden's been in the playoffs. Garland really is never healthy for the playoffs, and when he does try to play through injuries, it just doesn't look good. So I think it's positive for the Cavs is while this shortens your, shortens your timeline since Harden's under a contract for till the end of this year before you can offer him an extension. He has a player option, but I think they just extend him. Yeah, even if he quote unquote doesn't live up in the playoffs, I think now at least they have a guard who's normally at least available in the playoffs. Yeah, no, I just unreal. Mitchell's coming up for a new deal also. He is. Yeah, say you got to get Mitchell to resign somehow, and clearly running it back for another year just wasn't the answer. Say, of course, we're waiting on the next big trade, which who knows what that will be after the Memphis Grizzlies. Say, of course, with the Jaren Jackson trade, obviously all eyes are now on John Morant. Is he out? I don't need to talk about Giannis trade because all eyes have been on Giannis for years now. Surprised anybody gets. I mean, we kind of got that. I mean, Jaren Jackson was kind of surprising, right? In all reality, I don't think Jaren Jackson getting moved was that surprising. I feel like the location was just the surprising part, right? We were always talking about how Danny has got to make a move at some point with all those picks, but oh, say you got Najee a little like one leg is short. But yeah, no, I don't think it's surprising that Jaren got moved, but I guess we didn't expect Utah to be the one to make the move for him. Oh, Gafford got hops. He got up there to get that block. Najee just ripped it away from Kada. Here we go. Here comes. Oh, Hardy loses it. He's just going to shoot it anyway. That's off. Right, so Celtics are up 3. Say, I do think I think another big benefit of adding James Harden is look, we all know how he plays with bigs. I think Jared Allen and Evan Mobley are about to go through the roof. Clay's is going to shoot over Derek White. And we have a tie ball game, folks, at 32 apiece. So here we go. We got Pritchard. We're going to get a little off ball action for White. He's going to get the handoff. White stops, pops, and hits. Ooh, Nemhard. Oh, he's going to give it to Gafford, who's going to shoot a little hook over Kada, and that's going to be short. Say Pritchard gets a clean look and hits. We got ourselves a 5-point lead for the Celtics as Peyton Pritchard got a clean look off of that screen. Here we go. Clay's going to be running off a pin down. Shoots. It's long. Say, here comes Pritchard. Let's say Derek White. Ooh, here comes Shireman. He's going to say Peyton Pritchard behind the back. And, oh, Pritchard's on fire right now. Another bucket. 7-point lead for the Boston Celtics. They say right now they just don't have an answer for Peyton Pritchard. Good hit by Najee. They needed an answer in a bad way. Najee Marshall provides that. So here we go. Here comes Pritchard going back downhill. Oh, he missed the layup, but it looked like there was contact. Hardy is off. Yeah, Pritchard clearly thinks that there was contact. I thought there was contact. Hauser's good. Yeah, that's going to be a timeout. Dallas needed a timeout in the worst way there. Pritchard is crafty in the worst way. He's come so good. Say, yeah, he's so good at leveraging his shooting into attempts at the rim, and he's been efficient finishing around there. Let's see. I don't care about no LeBron James. Give me. Yeah, okay. Let's I would like to elaborate more on some Peyton Pritchard conversations by showing you some Peyton Pritchard shot charts. Shout out to Gabe LeBrin. He's the guy who's in charge of the Court Sketch app, by the way. Should definitely check it out. Yeah, so he's really good at leveraging these outside shots to getting downhill. Even though these are cold spots, teams still respect him from out there. And once he gets down there, as you can see, it's just all red. He's 65% at the rim. He is money from down there. So, so shifty, so good. Obviously, if you're Dallas, you just got to do a better job at keeping him out here, though. Some of these trips to the rim are just a little too easy. By the way, like I said, if y'all want to see any more of these shot maps or anything for anybody, what's cool about what Gabe did here is you can get shot maps going all the way back to 1996, 1997 season. So, and then the playoffs, you can also go back going to 96, 97. And then they got a lot of different cool graphs, like for 3-point, etc. Overall, a fantastic site. So, so here we go. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. I wonder if the Hornets are going to make any moves. The Hornets, look, they're hot right now. Currently, ironically, they have the best offensive lineup and this is a stat that shout out to Basketball University for posting cool stuff like this. For net rating, they're a plus 27.9. They have the best lineup offensively with 225 or more possessions together. Like, It looks like the Hornets have found a way to play together. Hornets need to make a move. It'll be interesting because it seems like this young unit is starting to find its rhythm. But no, I agree. If I could move on from, that's short. If I could find a way to move on from like a Miles Bridges and convert that into maybe two better rotational pieces, I would make that in a heartbeat. Oh, Derek White's going to the line for two. Say, I'm looking forward to it. Who do you guys think the next move off the board is going to be? Here we go. Say, Celtics are already up by 9. Got to get a nice little run here, hopefully from the Mavericks to keep this one close. See, Max Christie's going to go after Pritchard, trying to use the shoulder to create some space. Short. There's a lot of too much one-on-one iso ball right now for oh my gosh. Pritchard with a little give and go. Pritchard completely lost Hardy. Oh, now he loses the ball. Here comes Derek White. Skip. Oh, good skip to Hauser. Just couldn't connect. MPJ would be my guess. I think that'd be a fun trade. MPJ's been one of the best shot makers in the league this year. He's been so good. There you go. And Martin's going to the line for two. You know what's funny? I think the next trade also might be Cleveland. I see the rumors that they're trying to find somebody to take Lonzo Ball's contract, and I think that might end up being the next trade. I think they're going to be aggressive with it too. They know they can't rest on their laurels. They got to now convince James Harden to want to re-sign. They got to convince D-Mitch to sign that extension. So I think they'll be aggressive at moving Lonzo. Oof. Not a productive trip to the line. Still a 9-point game. Here comes JB going up against Martin. He's gonna get flag switched on to him. So there you go. Hugo short. Here comes Flag. Flag wants to get downhill. Oh, and that's left the layup off. Derek White. Oh! Too easy. Say skipped it, then they realized that nobody was with Garza, so he got the easiest layup of the game. So here we go. That was a very unnecessary Euro step. So here we go. Cooper's going to try to chisel. Oh, wow. What a terrible shot by Cooper Flag, trying to shoot over a contested jumper with a second defender. Flying in from the backside. JB's going to stop, pop, and hit. This Mavs offense is so ugly. It's one ball screen, and that's it. And offensive foul. They finally get a bucket, but it's an offensive foul. There's just not enough movement or anything going on with the Dallas Mavericks team. Say then, of course, they don't have the ISO players who'd be trying to play one on one. So here we go. Here comes D White. Gonna pass it to Jaylen Brown. Looks like Derek White's about to come set a screen, and there's gonna be a away from the ball foul. Woo! Derek White, and that's going to be long, but Garza. Say Celtics ball. Luke Garza creates another second chance points for the. Luke Garza is creating a lot of second chance points right now for Boston. Luke Garza has been sensational for the Boston Celtics. Not just this game, but this year. Yeah, no, and Cooper's been the only one having some success. Okay, yes, Cooper's having some, success breaking down the Celtics defense, but not a lot. It's been inefficient. Yeah, no, the Celtics are at this rate. The Celtics are just gonna blow this one out of the water real quick. It's like a beautiful symphony sometimes watching them play when they get moving. Yep. So here we go. JB. Ooh. Oh, Hugo tried another second chance opportunity though. So okay, well Hugo gets stuffed at the rim, but then gets a second chance to knock down a three, but misses. Caleb Martin's going to get a layup, and we're going to get a timeout. Celtics. So like I said, I'm loving I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what the trade deadline breaks down. Celtics are looking good, but that is a good timeout too. Got to make sure that the crowd doesn't get the Mavericks back into this thing. By the way, did y'all see the craziest? I do think it's crazy too that Amon Shumpert decided to say. Amon Shumpert said, and I quote, "I don't see the difference between how Lamelo Ball plays and how SGA plays. I think even taking out the stats and just looking at how they play, I don't think it's all that similar." Say it to me, yeah, but to me that's an absolutely wild one. LaMelo plays a lot farther away from the basket than Shea does. Shea's more aggressive, getting downhill and trying to create contact and creating in the mid range too. LaMelo is just more aggressive in the sense of trying to create and hit threes. Just even watching them play, taking stats, accolades, and everything out of it, just play style. I don't see the similarities in those two. Oh, guys, don't worry. You just got the update. LeBron's expected to finish the season in LA. Lonzo Ball for Pat Connaughton trade rumors. Hey, Pat Connaughton last year averaged 41 points per game when he started. So you got to respect the landlord. So it's a naturally, of course, the caveat being he started one game and dropped 41 last year. It was truly incredible. Oh, sure. Lonzo and LaMelo reunion. Sure, why not? It's one of those things where I don't think that really does anything for the Hornets. But you know what? If LaMelo and Lonzo, maybe they'll bring out the best in each other. So say I just think that a couple of years ago this would have been a fun idea, but LaMelo has just looked so like hate to say it, but he's looked so washed that I don't think this really would move the needle at all. Flag is doing an awful lot of work to create one basket. I think that's kind of a problem right now. Here comes JB. So he dishes it to Garza, gives it right back to JB. JB's going to attack Gafford. He loses it. Here comes Martin. Go. Christie is short. Here comes the Celtics. Go. Oh! Pritchard kicks it up to JB, swings it. Shireman. That's going to be off. So, oof. What did they crash knees? Yeah, it looks like they banged knees. Oof. Ooh. Hey, on the bright side, at least getting Vucevic that they say that should help. He can tidy up the rotation, especially when the games get more important. Yeah, I am curious to see where LeBron goes in the offseason. I feel like every team's going to be going after him. It's so weird in the sense that he doesn't fit what every team wants to do. But at the same time, we all know that if he does announce a retirement tour, whichever team happens to have him, they're getting like a guaranteed sellout pretty much every game. So yeah, you can tell the Bulls are short-handed. The Bucks are actually smoking them. Weird. Hey, but hey, they're getting the one good Patrick Williams game of the year. Him and Kuzma. Kuzma's at 18. Yeah, they're really shorthanded. And well, they have 0.8 of a second to do something with. Yeah, no, I thought maybe a Gaffer trade could happen, but Derek White, corner three, that's hard. Here comes Flag. He's going to push it ahead. Najee's going to get swatted from behind. Christie's now going to line one up, and that's off. They're just not hitting their deep balls. All right. Celtics back up 12. Oh. Yeah, he almost did a little reverse. He almost still put that sucker in. Here we go. Hey. Say, Mavs legend Trey Burke talked about his NBA exit. Trying to say that there's a conspiracy against. That was great by Hauser. Say, Trey Burke talking about how he was not in the league, though, because he wouldn't get the shot, the vaccine shot. Like, Burke, I promise you're out of the league because of a shot, but it was your jump shot. Say, Trey Burke was just a guy who was very reliant on scoring to really, pump up his value. But once the shots stopped falling in the end, that was kind of it for him. Oh, they called the foul on Dwight Powell there? Ooh. All right, here comes the challenge. Say, Mike Conley, it looks like he's going to get bought out, and I think that makes the most sense for both teams. They have absolutely no need for Mike Conley at this point in their, whatever they're trying to do. Scream 7, I didn't realize they're still making Scream movies. Let's see. So here we go. Like I said, we've had a fun game. We're having a fun trade deadline. Like I said, I'm really happy to really happy to be chilling with you guys, talking with everything that's going on. By the way, then this is kind of what I was talking about with Trey Burke. That switched to LeBron James because Trey Burke was out of the league in this year. Well, there you go. Here's some LeBron numbers for you. But yeah, it's just, to me, it's just weird that so it's just weird to me that he's saying it's the shot when it's just, unfortunately, he just aged out of the league. He was a great role player for a long time, but happens to everybody. All right. Okay. Call is overturned. No foul. And we're going to get a jump ball. J Kid, been good at challenging so far this year. So here we go. We're going to get the Dwight Powell, Derek White jump ball. Say, let's see. Here we go. Say, Najee and Jalen fighting for positioning behind. Yep, Dwight wins that one, as he should. So we got 52-40, minute and a half left to go. Oh, we're going to get Coop off the ball. Here comes Martin, but we're just going to run an off-ball screen for flag, which is going to turn into him Powell pick and roll. But hey, oh, good hit, good hit. Say he took the contact and still finished it over Garza anyway. So here comes Pritchard, and we're getting into that. Oh, good hands by Powell. That's going to get Martin going downhill, one-on-one. He's going to finish that. There's not a lot of guys that have the reflexes to deflect that pass, but Powell was quick with it. Powell was quick with that. So here we go. Why not? Here we got Derek White going at Martin. Now he's going to give it to JB, who's posting up Marshall. Say, JB's trying to break him down off the dribble. He's going to rise up, and it's off. So it's 4-second difference between shot clock and game clock. Here comes Cooper Flag. Oh, he's double teamed. He's in trouble, but good find. Marshall. Oh, that would have been huge. Oh, this would be backbreaking if the Celtics scored here. Are they going to go JB instead of Pritchard? Oh, here comes JB. Oh, yeah. No, that stood no chance. So an 8-point game going into half. It's been a fun game. We'll see if the Celtics can keep it up, if the Mavs can adjust. Say, Flanagan's drawing too. He's got to keep looking to drive and kick. That weak side has openings. Say, I love what the Celtics are doing for the most part. They're just kind of keeping the ball moving, just trying to find the best available shot. Say, we get a halftime interview with Peyton Pritchard. Say, while you're in here chomping on, I know your team's the Celtics, of course. What are you thinking about Vucevic? Say, what do you say? I'm curious on what your thoughts on acquiring Vuchar. I keep forgetting that the Pro Bowl's on, so I keep getting these updates about the Pro Bowl. Say, we're say I hope too. One thing I do think the biggest winner maybe of that Jaren Jackson Jr. trade might be the Milwaukee Bucks. I think a lot of people were kind of forgetting in there, or forgetting how many picks a player like Giannis is worth. I kept seeing all these trade packages, like, oh, we'll just give him like 3 picks in a swap. Oh, like I think we just watched Jaren Jackson snag 3 picks. Like, I am not worried. I mean, I think also about earlier in the offseason, Desmond Baines got 3 picks. Which, granted, I do know there were 4 in that trade, but I always took that trade and viewed it as 3 to get off Bain, 3 for Bain, 1 for KCP to get off that contract. So, I'm curious to see if the Giannis trade does happen. What would the framework look like? We are absolutely of course, another team to look at is the Golden State Warriors. That's a team that doesn't want to waste Steph Curry's days, but it's not a lot of assets to be had with them. Jimmy Butler is just kind of a contract at this point. You could trade Draymond Green, but like Kaminga's not really much of an asset at this point. So, say Giannis with a good sense of humor though. At to end his press conference today, Glenn Rivers told the press that Giannis is putting Shams on the trade block, so we might get a trade before All Star Weekend. We might see Shams get traded away from Team Giannis. I love Melo on this panel. Yeah, he out clips. Yeah, I like Darius Garland. He's a solid player. He's an all star caliber player, but he just can't stay healthy. I'll say it's also it'll be interesting to see if they get Donovan Mitchell off the ball more. Say, how do you utilize off ball damage? That will be something to watch. Say, I love how everybody's like dressed up in these nice suit and ties and like blazers, and then there's Mellow. I love it. I love Mellow style. Say I say they, they think Melo has some. Say and you still have a lot of pieces that you can move to make other. Yeah, I do like the Peacock crew. Yeah, I look. This is so great because they all seem just so happy to talk hoops. I love it. Say I love this NBC and Peacock crew. They're terrific. We're not getting Melo ain't an insider. Say man, like part of me just I'm just waiting for the next trade. Say we get so it's gonna be Harden, Mitchell, Jalen Tyson, Mobley, Allen. It's just interesting to me too. I see a lot of Cavs fans are just don't do not seem to be excited to get James Harden. Say I personally I don't mind it. Hey, look. Say, well, looks like the Bucks actually have to play Andre Jackson. Say, Glenn Rivers is probably crying right now that he actually has to use him, but I'll take it. I love Andre. I think 2026 Harden is that much of a medium. I think that's kind of the big key, though, right? I think with Harden, you know what you're going to get. He's been consistently great still on the offensive end. He's been great at balancing scoring and playmaking. And I think when you get to the postseason, I think that helps. It helps a ton in this instance because, like you kind of mentioned, and something I alluded to earlier, Garland he kept getting either A, just hurt and missing the postseason, or he just get banged up. And by the time he got to the postseason, you would get like 80% of Garland. So I have my doubts that was the right guy. I feel like if he was the right guy to be the number two on a championship team, that would have materialized by now. So no, I absolutely get it. Especially the fact of the matter is Darius Garland. He's been in the league now for a long time. I believe about 6 or 7. He's 7 years. He's about like 27 years old, and he's still not at the level of 36-year-old James Harden. So overall, I think the signs were there that Garland was going to be on the block this year. No, I'd say I'll give James credit though. When people talk about longevity, James Harden gets left out of that conversation. I think a little too much. The fact he's still playing at the level he's currently playing at, it's great. I love it. Shay, we're say, like I said, I'm curious if that means that Kawhi and Zubac are available. If we're getting a little mini fire sale from the Clippers, or was it just James Harden's gone and we're going to move on as currently constructed? And joining us at this time, fresh off of vacation, he is Mo Better. How you doing, Mo?
Hey, what's good, Brett? What's good, chat? What's going on, man?
Hey, not much. Of course, I got to ask you about the big trade that we just got an hour ago. I'm guessing you saw it.
Is that Harden for Garland?
Harden for Garland, and the Clippers got a second round pick out of it.
Oh, good. That's a good deal for the Clippers.
Yeah, I think that I think it's a good move for. I think it's actually a good move from the Cavs too. I'm not sold on the idea that Darius Garland can be that guy to play next to Donovan Mitchell. So I think it's worth a shot to see if James Harden can be that guy. Because look, James Harden has his shortcomings in the playoffs, but even the shortcome version of James Harden has been miles better than what we've gotten out of Darius Garland in big pressure games so far.
I would agree with that. I think the Cavaliers are in that win now mode. And look, I get James Harden gives them another legitimate facilitator. And on a night when Donovan Mitchell might not be shooting his best, look, James Harden can still drop 30 on a given night. He's the guy's 36 years old, Brett, and he's still getting to the foul line 9 times a game. So he's gonna add different elements because he can still generate offense even when he doesn't shoot the ball well.
Say they saw Garland shoot 4 of 21 a couple nights ago, and they're like, "Yeah, no, you're out."
Yeah, I've heard people say they don't think that Harden and Mitchell can work well together, but I I disagree. If Harden can work well with Kawhi, and even though I know he and Mitchell aren't the same players, but they're both scorers. I think he'll have no problem working with Donovan Mitchell. I think Donovan Mitchell will welcome having somebody else take some of that pressure off of him.
I think it's almost the opposite way around. I'm not worried at all about Harden sliding because he's shown he can fit in with multiple stars. How will Donovan Mitchell react of being able to play more off ball? Will that be a more energized defensively Donovan Mitchell? Are we going to get him being more active running around screens? Because let's be real, we haven't seen a ton of situations where the ball gets taken out of his hands. Does he know how to play off ball that well? Like, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, maybe he'll have to adjust to most, but you know who will benefit from him, from Harden? Evan Mobley and Jared Allen.
Oh, they're going to feast.
Yeah, think about all the lobs and easy layups and dunks they're going to get because of actions off of what James Harden is able to create. So I do think it makes the Cavs better. I'm not going to say something crazy like, well, they'll probably win the East. I'll just say it makes them better. The only question is how long it'll take before he and Mitchell can be on the same page.
Nah, for sure. At least they have the All Star break to kind of figure out different strategies and game plans. It was almost the perfect time for that trade too.
That's fair. That's the biggest, I guess, trade in terms of impact. But the trade that I think is going to be huge going towards the future is the Jaren Jackson trade.
That I ooh, good dunk by Dwight Powell, 6-point game.
Nice.
At this point, don't the Cavs need to win the East, though? I don't think they have to. It would be nice, but I don't think they necessarily have to. I think they could beat teams on the road. But
I think at a minimum they got to be in the conference finals.
Oh, yeah, win the East like that. Okay, I thought they just meant the division.
Yeah, no, they've got to be in the conference finals or win the East outright. They didn't make because again, even though he's playing at a high level, he is 36 years old, and at some point, just like at some point, Steph will, KD will, Harden will hit the wall. I think guys like Steph, Harden, KD, they all probably have a good 2 or 3 years at a high level left in them.
No, absolutely. Christie is off. I hate this Dallas Mavericks offense, by the way. There's so much iso ball going on. There's no movement. Like, we kill you to just like run a pin down for somebody.
Yeah, look, I think it's funny because I'm looking at the Mavs and we're talking about moves being made. I'd be surprised if they didn't move Anthony Davis. I know people are saying they'll wait till the offseason. I'm not sure that his value goes up in the offseason because he'll be a year older and he's already got the injury history. So I'm not sure I'd wait.
I'll say I don't think it matters at this point. His value isn't going to go up at this point. I don't think it's necessarily going to go down either. I think he's just at a point where the market is the market. You can risk letting him get healthy, but I don't think that works. Oh, Coop with the chase down. Mo, did you see the reports that LeBron is sticking around for the full season?
Yeah, I'm very happy.
Hey, you know what? Hey, I think this is it for him though. Even if it's not, he doesn't retire. I don't see him coming back to LA, especially after all the dramatic reporting we just got.
And I think that he still has aspirations to win a title. You're not going to win one with the Lakers.
Yeah, say, hey, you know what? Maybe he does accept a lesser contract to sneak into somewhere. For example, maybe he can sneak on to Cleveland next year. There we go.
Well, can you see that? LeBron James, Donovan Mitchell, and James Harden. Wow,
that would be fun. It'd be fun. I don't know if that team wins, but
it would be fun.
It'd be fun.
I agree. It'd be entertaining for sure. And look, obviously with Jaren Jackson Jr. being traded, I think most of us are waiting for the other shoe to drop. Where does John Morant end up?
Memphis. It's funny. It's not that I don't think it's the Mavericks don't want to trade him. I think that they just value him higher than the rest of the league values John Morant.
Right.
I think there's a disconnect that's going to prevent a trade from happening.
I agree. I think Memphis is like, we can get a haul for Ja, and I was looking at what they got for Jaren Jackson Jr. I don't think you can get that much for Ja. I think right now between the two players, Jackson Jr. has more value.
Oh, I think he had immensely more value. I think that John Morant is pretty much getting the Trae Young package. Like, hey, here's some salary filler, and maybe you get a promising young player, but I think that's probably the holdup. I feel like everybody's just like, here's some salary filler, and they're like, well, we want all these picks. They're like, it's not 2022 John Morant anymore, big dog. Let it go.
Yeah. They're gonna. My guess is he's probably going to end up staying with Memphis, like you said, because they're overvaluing him.
Say, I could see him get moved in the offseason. I just don't see it right now. I don't think anybody is, and I think the Grizzlies want a haul for him. Yeah, Mo, book it. I think the Jazz are a play-in team next year.
You know what? If they're going to keep Laurie and pair him with Jackson, I think there's a very interesting forward combo. You get Walker Kessler back. That is a huge front line.
And I think that's perfect. I think you have a guy on your team in Keontae George that, as good as he is offensively, his defense has been awful. I think you get a lot of size next to him. And look, if they get lucky and win this year's lottery, and you add another premier guard prospect like a Darren Peterson, whoo, that team's just going to be cooking next year.
You know what? I'm on board with you. If they can stay healthy with the young players they have that are still developing, and then you've already got established players like Jaren Jackson and marketing, I think Utah makes the playoffs next year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I think the big thing they'll have to do is make sure they get a quality guard that can set people up really well. Say I like Jaren, Laurie, and Walker, but they're going to be much better if they get a combo guard that's going to look to set them up in the right spots. Brett's baking up with the Magic for the Jazz.
Hey, you know what? Brett's not alone on the Magic thing. We both took a swing in that one, and while they'll probably still make the playoffs, they're definitely not what I thought they would be. I can readily admit that. I thought Paolo would have a huge breakout season, and what they really have ended up with is a team with a lot of chemistry issues.
I think they just got to get a more creative coach. Jamal Mosley's everybody just take turns isoing offense is not going to do it. And this is a team that has a lot of good playmakers. Like Banchero can pass, Franz can pass, Bain can pass, like Suggs can. Like you have a lot of playmakers. I think you can do some real interesting stuff, but they just got to get out of this habit of ISO. Doesn't work, so we're just going to force up a difficult shot or heave it to somebody for a grenade three.
Yeah, I think they don't have a shortage of guys who are good secondary playmakers, but they don't have a primary playmaker, and that's the problem. Paolo's not a primary, neither is Franz, neither is Bain. They don't have a primary playmaker, and that's something they need to address. And if we're really getting into it with Orlando, they're not very good in terms of shooting. They're going to have to go out and make some decisions. Like they have guys who can score. They don't have a lot of guys that are shooters.
It just seems like anytime they get a shooter, that it doesn't matter what happens, their percentage is just dropping by a minimum of 5 points. There's something about Orlando that just zaps shooters of their abilities. So I'm convinced you could put prime Steph Curry on the Orlando Magic and he's shooting 35% from three somehow.
That might be true. That might be true.
By the way, Mo, fun stat from tonight. Isaiah Collier had 22 assists for the Utah Jazz.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah, I think this group's intriguing.
Yeah, they have talent. They have a lot of talent. And a lot of these guys are still like 22 and under. So, like I said, when you've got Marketing and Jackson who are already established, and they're still relatively young. We're talking about guys like in their, 25, 26 years old. Everything is pointing up for the Jazz, and obviously it balances out. The Jazz, everything's pointing up. The Grizzlies are going to embrace a full-on rebuild. That's why I think there's an obvious opening for where Utah can step into a playoff spot.
And you know what's funny about Kyle saying I'm breaking up with the Magic for the Jazz? I always had a little bit of a love affair with the Jazz going. Like, I didn't just become Rudy Gobert's biggest defender out of nowhere when he joined Minnesota. That was a team I was following, even with like Rudy and D. Mitch and Gordon Hayward. I'd go online and cook people in 2K with Derek Favors on the low block. Like that was my team when they had both D. Mitch and Rudy.
The fact that you're cooking people with Derek Favors, that's a shout out to your skill.
Dude, it's funny because the Warriors at the time, were running the switch everything lineup with their big five there. So in 2K, a lot of people were just like, oh, we're going to switch everything. So it was literally the entire offense was screen and roll with Conley and Favors, but immediately pull it back out. Steph would switch on to Favors, and I just dump it down there and go to work. And if I wanted to get really dicey with it, I would do the same thing with Gobert. Yeah, I made somebody quit by ripping off 30 straight points with just those two.
A Jazz pick and roll. Got to work. Yeah, look, I'm excited. Let me ask you this. You're a Bucks fan. I'm sure as a Bucks fan, you're probably like, I'll be glad when the deadline comes and goes and Giannis is still wearing a Bucks uniform.
Yeah, I want to keep Giannis. I want Giannis to retire, Milwaukee Buck. I'd rather try to win with Giannis and face whatever lies ahead, first round exits, maybe another championship, whatever it is. I would rather, have Giannis, but if he does get dealt, yeah, that's just the way the ball drops sometimes. Say, at least we don't have George Karl making power plays in the front office this time.
Yeah, agreed. I
Nothing
don't
will.
I don't feel like he's getting dealt, but that's just me.
That killed me, by the way. George Karl commented on the whole Giannis thing, and my thought was, I looked at George Karl. I'm like, you know what, George, you're right. We should trade Giannis, maybe for Gary Payton. Get it? That's what you did for Ray Allen, and then left us anyway.
I can't mess with George Karl. That guy kicked Melo's back in. He's cutthroat. So I ain't messing with him.
Yeah, no, I don't mess with him because of what he did to Milwaukee. He forced us to pick between him and Ray. We chose him, traded Ray for 18 games of Gary Payton, and then he left anyway. No, like I said, I do hope though that with the Jaren Jackson trade, it kind of reiterates the fact that Giannis is not going for like 2 firsts and a half-eaten bag of Lay's chips like a lot of these trade proposals were
Yeah, I agree.
presenting. It's like, dude, Jaren Jackson just went for 3. Like Desmond Bain went for 3. Even I know the deal got 4, but obviously one of those was to get KCP off the books. Like you see, like these all-star players are going for 3, and now we're going like 5 levels past that to best in the world caliber players.
Let me ask you something. When you saw that the Grizzlies finally got rid of or moved on from Mike Conley, and obviously this was more about a money deal because now they're like 3 million below the apron. Which that's all well and fine, but you see how the Grizzlies roster is constructed. I don't think they have enough to win a title. Like I think they're really good. They don't have enough offensive firepower.
Oh, do you mean Minnesota?
I'm sorry, I said the Grizzlies. I meant the Timberwolves. Right.
Oh yeah.
It's their offensive possessions. It's too hard for them. It's everything is on one guy's shoulders to create so much. I thought they would be out there and they would be buyers trying to pursue and find another shot creator. And at least until this point, they've done is save on the cap, which is good. But the mission is to be competitive and win a title, and they didn't do anything to address that.
I feel like that they're not. I feel like they're not done. Let me put it this way: I think one of 2 things are going to happen. I think there's another trade coming. I think they're eyeing up the Giannis trade still. That's why they kind of cleared some cap. But I don't think this trade that's going on right now with Mike Conley, I don't think that will be official pretty much until right up to the end of the deadline. And the reason I don't think so is I think if the Giannis trade doesn't materialize, then what'll end up happening is before they finalize that trade fully, I still think the Timberwolves will send more pieces to the Bulls and come away with Colby White. So I think right now they're either gonna finalize the deal at the last minute and end up with Colby White, or they're gonna swing for the fences and get like a Giannis caliber player. So I just don't think they're done because if this is the roster they're running with going forward, I think you're right. I don't think there's enough gas there.
Which speaking of title contenders, even though Detroit is number 1 in the East, and I love what the Pistons do, and how they compete, especially on defense. In the postseason, things slow down. It becomes more about half court execution. If everything's on Cade's shoulders, I love Jalen Duren. Duren can't be your second best player. He can be your second best player, but he can't be your second best offensive option. You're getting rid of Jaden Ivey, which I thought they should do, but I thought they were going to do that in pursuit of bringing in another scorer. They haven't addressed that issue.
Hey, they got Kevin Huerter.
Yeah, like I said, they haven't addressed that issue.
He was really good on those light the beam Kings teams like 4 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
No, I think the Pistons need to make moves if they want to they're weird. Like I feel like if they want to, get to that next level, they'll still need to make a move. But I feel like they're just going to kind of rest on their laurels until next year and let everybody develop and then see where they're at.
Yeah, and you can do that. Except look at their roster. They have bigs that are developing, but who are the wing players that are like scorers or shooters or facilitators? They don't have a lot. Um, I think Detroit's going to end up being one of those teams that's terrific in the regular season. They're not going to go if they stay as presently constructed. They're not going to go on a deep playoff run.
Woo-hoo-hoo! Luke Garza with another three. Loving what Luke Garza brings to this team. He's so aggressive on the boards, and the fact that all of a sudden he can shoot threes this year is fantastic.
The thing about Garza is you almost forget how big he is. You know what I mean? Because he's added that three to his game where he can step away. But when you see him in the trenches, he's a huge man.
Say the Mavs are getting killed too because all these second chance opportunities, they are not rebounding, and it's going Garza heat check. Garza for three.
Where are all those people out there that told me I didn't know what I was talking about when I said Boston was going to be very good even without Jason Tatum? Where are they at?
I remember I didn't doubt that the Celtics would still be good because they always find a way to remain competitive. I don't know. It's just, I will admit, though, I was wrong. I thought Jaylen Brown, number one option, hoops would be rough. I thought he'd be a lot more inefficient than he's been. So, Hugo. No, but yeah, it's a block. Yeah, not a testament to how good Joe Mazzulla is as a coach to be able to just next man up this.
And don't sleep on Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens seems to always make the right moves. Adding Vucevic actually gives them a third lineup they can go to because now you can not just pick and roll, you can pick and pop because Vooch can step away, shoot the three, but Vooch is also skilled in the mid range and in the post.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to that. Say, let's have a little fun.
Yes, I agree, Kyle. Vooch is also a really good passer too. I this is going back years ago when they used to go up against each other. I always thought that Vucevic was kind of like a Paul Gasol light.
No, fair. People underrate Mazzulla as a coach. Absolutely. Yeah, no, I like I said, that's kind of what I'm excited for. Like, I feel like this is going to be, say, Mazzulla's going to have a field day with all the ways he can use Mooch. There we go. Why not bring up the Nikola Vucevic shot map from this year? Look at that. That's a little above the break area. He really cooks it and at the free throw line. I think these numbers will definitely go up, though. Obviously, this is more of a result of who he's been playing with.
Right.
So I think the efficiency, especially from these corners, will go up. Say, I can definitely see this being a building block piece for when Tatum comes back.
Yeah, and I think Vucevic on the floor with Brown and Pritchard, I could see that working well too because of what they can create off of him and what he can do for them with his passing ability in the post. So it's a great move for Boston. I like the fact that Brad Stevens is like, whether Jason comes back or not, we plan on being really competitive in the postseason. And honestly, look, I give the Celtics I think that I give them a legitimate chance to advance and go on a deep playoff run. I'm not saying anything crazy like they're going to be in the finals, but I'll put it this way: I think Boston is going to be a really tough out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. By the way, once again, this site's called Court Sketch, made by my good friend Gabe. All the basketball stats you'd ever want, including this fun shot map one, where you can get shot maps dating all the way back to the 96-97 season when play-by-play was first introduced. Say, look at all those names already popping up. Byron Scott, Grant Long, Danny Faze, Clyde Drexler. Like I said, you can pull one up for literally anyone.
I don't know if you want to. I don't know if you want to see Clyde Drexler shooting from around the arc. It's not a pretty thing, I'm sure.
It's always fun to pull some of these up and just see some back in the day. Like, of course, here's the first year of here's 96, 97 Jordan. Jeez, just all that red from the mid range.
Let's relive.
Say good shooting from the outside too. 38%, 44, 38. I always like to shout out my guy Gabe when I get the chance. He built a really fun website there.
That's pretty awesome.
Watching Clay. Oh no, I think the team that might be low key active, Mo, are the Charlotte Hornets. They've been on an absolute tear since the turn of the new year. They've been one of the best teams in the league in January.
Yeah, who lit a fire into them where they all of a sudden started competing on both ends of the floor? Like, is this the same team? Because I'm like, I want to say that's coaching, but I believe it's the Con Knipple effect.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
That's what I believe.
Absolutely. Con has been. Oh, is Garza going to do it again? Well, Garza for three. Absolute flamethrower. Who would have thought in a game where Klay Thompson on the court, the best 3-point shooter right now is Luka Garza?
I guess Klay's not going to be on the move.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hustle, big man. Hustle. Derek White, corner three. Check the win. Nobody's going to try to close him out. Easiest three of his life. You know what's funny, though? I love watching the discourse around the Hornets because I keep getting told that, like, Charles Lee is such a bad coach. But then all of a sudden they start going on a run like this. And people are still saying, like, well, Charles Lee is still such a bad coach. I don't think he's as bad as social media makes him out to be. I think his rotations are questionable at times, but which young coach doesn't have rotation issues to start their tenure?
I'm glad you put that out there. He's also a very young coach too. So the same way a lot of his core is like 22 and under. Charles Lee's a very young guy. It's weird. His guys are developing. I think he's developing a style himself as he progresses into his coaching career. So shout out to Charles Lee and the Hornets for turning things around and being very competitive. I find it odd that Charlotte can turn it around and they're very competitive. And then in the Western Conference, you have a team like the Pelicans to say, we're not trading anybody, even though our record is what it is. I don't understand that thinking at all.
Yeah, and that's the weird part, right? Like, you have assets. Like, I'm not even joking when I say you could walk away with at least 5 firsts between Herb Jones and Trey Murphy alone. Like, I think just between those two, you can sell off Trey for about 3, maybe even 4 firsts. Like, at the rate the market's going. And then, of course, Herb, you could probably still, even though he's having a down year, you could probably still get 1 for Herb. So, 4 to 5 firsts would be a good spot for the Pelicans to be in.
I do not understand that mindset that we're not trading. The funny thing is they're not trading anybody, right? But you and I have common sense. They're a small market team. You're not trading anybody, but you don't win enough games to justify paying everybody either. You can't pay everybody. We all know it. You've paid Zion. He don't deserve it, but you paid him. Trey Murphy, Herb Jones. Like, you can't pay everybody and be a losing small market team. That's not the way it works. And so if you don't trade anybody, you might not trade anybody at the deadline, but you're going to end up trading damn near everybody before the start of the next season.
My favorite part about that too, Bo, is we're not trading anybody. But did you see the report of who was in the hunt for James Harden?
Was it the Pelicans?
The New Orleans Pelicans. They had interest in James Harden, but James Harden said, no, I don't want to go there.
Yeah, I don't blame him. No way in hell you go there. I don't blame him.
Like, what exactly are you trying to build? Like, do you really think you're that close to winning now that you're going to give up assets to get James Harden?
Right. It makes sense for the Cavaliers because they're kind of win right now, which that fits the Harden timeline. You're the Pelicans, you bring in James Harden. By the time you're as good as you want to be, James Harden will be washed.
Who needs to make a significant move more? Hornets, Pelicans, or Nets?
I would say I think the Pelicans, they need to stop talking crazy.
Say, I think the Pelicans need to just finally trade some of these people. Even if you want to keep like Trey Murphy or whatever, that's fine. But you got to ship some of these pieces out, start recouping some assets before it's too late.
I agree.
The Hornets, I do think that maybe if you could flip Miles Bridges for pieces that fit better, I would not be opposed to that. Brooklyn Nets, look, they're in a great spot. Just keep doing you. Look, they have a great Ponzi scheme going over there. They get a forward, pump up his value, trade him. Get another forward, pump up his value, trade him. Like they've done it with Cam Johnson, and now it's Michael Porter. They'll probably flip him for like 3 firsts.
He said
or 2 firsts.
He said a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, like I'm telling you, I feel like that they're going to do it again this offseason. Like, let me put it this way. If Giannis ends up going to the Houston Rockets, like some rumors have suggested, I feel like Jabari Smith will somehow end up in Brooklyn. That seems like the perfect target for them to do the same thing. Pump up value, trade for multiple firsts, restart the process.
Giannis in Houston? That seems wild.
That was one of the rumors that the Houston Rockets were going to make a push.
How would that work with Giannis on the floor with Shaq? Like, I don't think you can have Giannis and Şengün and that will work. I think you're going to have spacing issues. I could see Giannis easily working with Durant and vice versa. I don't think the Şengün Giannis thing would work.
I almost feel like that. I don't think that Giannis goes to the Rockets, but yeah, no, it would be interesting. Or I've seen some people throw out there like, "Oh, maybe you trade Şengün." I'm like, cool.
They're not. I mean, it's great for the Bucks. Yeah, if you're going to bring in a 23-year-old for better, what are they calling him now? Baby Joker, who, by the way, he has a lot of the similar skill set to Joker, and he's still developing. That is a great piece to start your rebuild with, along with whatever picks you could get from the Rockets. So I'm with you. I don't think Giannis is going to the Rockets, but should he go, if you're getting that in return along with picks and stuff, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, hey, look, maybe a team with no expectations will see Glenn Rivers get into his coaching bag. Say him and Bootleg Sabonis will do wonders.
I like that, Bootleg Sabonis.
That's my player comp for Alfred Şengün. If anybody doesn't know, I've heard the Jokic stuff, and I thought that was a little wild. I think he's more Sabonis than Jokic, which is still a great spot to be in. Regardless, he's an all-star caliber player.
That we can agree on. Yeah, I think the Joker stuff is a stretch, at least right now. He is really talented, but if you ever watch the Rockets play, he's a unique guy because there's a lot of times where he's off balanced a lot because his footwork, he's got good footwork, but a lot of times he ties himself up in knots because he's off balance a lot. So I think there's plenty of room for growth, which is perfect. Again, I don't think he's going there, but if you can acquire that young, talented big with picks and other assets, that would be amazing. Another reason why him going there doesn't make sense is, again, you're not giving. I have to assume they wouldn't plan to give up Şengün. You're not going to give up Amen Thompson either. So how would he ever go there if you're not giving up the players that Milwaukee would want in return? Because it makes sense. It's not like you can go, no, we're trying to give you guys Steven Adams, and we're going to give you maybe Tari Eason and maybe Reed Shepherd, and you guys can build off of those guys.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's that's why I kind of mentioned the name Jabari Smith earlier because I feel like if they do end up moving him there, I think the young player that the Rockets would try to sell him on would be Jabari Smith, which I don't see it, but yeah, I okay. Let me tell you the dark teams. I think if Giannis does get moved, it would be us doing him a favor to help him get that supermax pay from like the Timberwolves.
Oh,
I could very I
I
could
got
very
you.
well see the Timberwolves making a trade for him, but I think the real dark horse that a lot of people are overlooking, Mo, Portland Trailblazers.
That's interesting. Now, let me ask you this. I get why the Bucks would want to deal with Portland because of the assets they have. But on the other side of that trade, what does it do for Giannis other than the fact that obviously Portland's going to give him that super max, but in terms of him competing for a title, is that really a viable team?
I think the pieces are. You know what's funny? I think the pieces to be competitive would be there. I don't know if it's a title team, but I think they'd be really competitive for everybody, right? I feel like because the Blazers have been an absolutely awesome defense, and I think Giannis only helps in that regard. And I think he helps in the one spot that Portland's kind of lacking in a consistent half court presence to get a bucket for him. I feel like that is it a championship team? I don't think so, but I feel like that's also a team that's just really competitive, especially you're going to be reuniting him with Drew. He liked playing with Dame, who will be coming back next year. I don't know how Dame looks coming off the Achilles, but I think it could be an intriguing team next year.
So Drew, Dame, what's our guy? Avia. I like Avia a lot.
Yeah,
I
oh
like
yeah,
him a lot.
Denny, Kling,
Um,
Kling
what's
Klong.
and the 3-and-D guy? What's his name? I'll chop up his name, but you'll say it better.
I think Jeremy Grant would definitely be the one going out, and I feel like you're losing Scoot Henderson in that regard.
Are you really losing him? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, no,
let's be real. Like Scoot has been an underachiever.
no, absolutely. By the way, I had to call out my guy Will. Love Will. He's a Bulls fan, but how do you let Kyle Kuzma 30 piece you? Kyle Kuzma ended the game with 31 tonight.
Wow.
Oof. Now that I don't know how that happens, but love to see it. I love watching it when Kuz actually gets downhill and doesn't settle for stupid jumpers.
Speaking of which, um, because of the moves they made, suddenly Chicago's got like 5 2 guards. Like I have to assume somebody they're not done because there's no way they're holding on to all those 2 guards.
I think I already heard that they're going to buy out Mike Conley.
Well, Mike Conley getting bought out, I'm sure that just like in the Utah trade, I'm sure that Kyle Anderson and somebody else are going to get bought out. Um, I, I I think you're onto something. I don't know if they can pull it off, but I think that Minnesota is trying to become really strong players and make some kind of put together a package for Giannis. Look, I don't think it'll happen, but as a basketball fan, putting Giannis with Ant, it's very intriguing.
Yeah, and I definitely think I think one of the Bulls guards are going to the Wolves if they don't get Giannis. It's I think the only challenge. It's intriguing. Yeah, Kyle Anderson might just stick around the league forever. Honestly, he's the same player. Like every year, his game doesn't rely on speed or power or anything. He's just technically sound and slower than you.
This is true. He can be 45 years old and look the same as he did when he was 25.
My only concern with this idea of trading Giannis to the Timberwolves is what does the depth look like, right? Because I've seen trades, for example, that have sent out the Bucks are going to target Jaden McDaniels. We know that,
Guaranteed.
but
Guaranteed.
I've seen people throw out trades that like he's gone, Julius Randle's gone. I saw a trade that even also as a 4-team trade that traded Rudy Gobert, and
So
I'm watching
really?
all these. Yeah, I'm watching all these different trade ideas. I'm like, so who? What's the depth look like? Do you have anyone coming off the bench? Like, do I have to go to Minnesota and suit up for a little bit? Like,
right.
I feel like that people are overlooking that because obviously the names blind you. It's like, yeah, Giannis and that sounds awesome, and I think it would be awesome. But also, like, you can't really win in the modern NBA without depth, and I fear that if you make this trade, you're just lacking depth. Let me put it this way: you're one injury away from Joe Ingles minutes in 2026 if you make a massive swing like that.
Joe stays at the ready.
Yeah,
Joe stays at the ready. He's a vet.
Yeah, he's ready, but like the mind's still willing, but at times the body is weak with him, and that's kind of the issue.
Oh yeah, no
I just feel like that you can make a big swing like that. I'd just be a little concerned that okay, how are you filling out the depth?
No, look, I agree with you, but I would say this: if they have a master plan where they're going to do multiple trades and they can fill it out that way, like if you know what I'm saying, like if they, because I don't think the Bucks want Julius Randle. I think the Bucks would rather move. They'd rather get a pick than versus have Julius Randle. So I don't think Julius Randle would end up a Buck. I think if they were able to pull off this deal that we both don't think they can, it would be like a 4-team trade. And I think the Wolves would make multiple trades to try to fill out the roster because, like you said, it sounds great when you put Giannis and Ant together. It's like the Wonder Powers, but who's going to be around the Wonder Powers to give them a chance to be competitive if everybody's gone?
Hey, look, if they ask nicely, we'll throw in Kuzma. Only if they ask nicely.
If they ask nicely. You're a wild dude. That's you wild. It's funny. I was gonna say that Kyle Anderson is the guy that's always included in every trade, but I feel like it's Kyle Anderson, Jeremy Grant, and now Kyle Kuzma.
Hey, my favorite trade filler of all time. Shout out Ish Smith. He's on like 13 different teams. Or Luke Ridnour got traded 4 times in a week and then decided to retire after it all.
He was actually a good player, too. I don't know why he was always the guy that got moved, but Ridnour was actually a good player.
Yeah, no, I'd say Ridnour, he was a very steady hand. Never really overdid it. Always enjoyed him. Bucks legend.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you're right. If Minnesota even comes close to pulling this off, their depth is going to be so thin. And I'd be concerned. Like I'm sure you are now, whether he's traded or not, you're like, okay, Giannis is having this calf thing again. We got to get this guy 100%, not 90%, but 100% before we even put him back on the floor. So even if Minnesota makes this move, aren't they basically making the Giannis move more for next season than this season?
Absolutely. NBA trade deadline sponsored by John Collins. Hey, we gotta throw Miles Turner in there too.
Oh, another one. By the way, if you do trade Giannis, I'm sure you've already said this in your head. If we move Giannis, we're for damn sure moving Miles Turner.
Yeah, I've already read that we're gauging the market on Miles Turner in case a Giannis trade does come. I feel so bad for Turner. Thinks he finally found stability, and here he is back in the trade rumors after half a season. No, I still think Miles could be a good piece for us. I'm also, like I said, I just don't like the way that he gets used from a coaching standpoint.
That's fair. I mean, look, that's on Glenn, right?
Very much so. Like I I just think we got to get him going downhill more.
I thought that my team would be a little bit more active. I'm not talking about a major trade, but I thought that we would be active in trying to make fringe moves that would improve our perimeter defense. Like I thought that we would pursue a guy like Herb Jones or someone like that. Like I know the Lakers had interest in Trey Murphy, but realistically, we don't have enough to bring him back unless we're going to put Austin Reeves in some kind of trade, which I don't think we're going to do. So I thought that they would at least try to get a 3-and-D guy that could help them around the fringes.
Don't worry, Mo. All the reports will be like, "Oh, Lakers are bringing in a former All-Star they'll really gas you up, and then they'll just like get Mike Conley off the buyout market.
How much you want to bet that we don't end up with the dude that people have been talking about his potential year in and year out? He just found himself back in the G League again. But
Cam Reddish again.
Exactly. How come I feel like the Laker trust, they get you all fired up like the Lakers are going to make a huge move, and the huge move is Cam Reddish is coming back.
Yeah, like here's Cam Reddish and Mike Conley. Like, excuse me?
Yeah, that's another reason why LeBron's not coming back, because I feel like he realizes they're kind of stuck in mud. Even if he takes the pay cut, what does that do for them in terms of them bringing in what they need to put around him, Luka, Reeves? They got a lot of work. And there's not enough time for the work they have. Like, I feel like they're probably going to go into the postseason with the roster they currently have, which means they're going to go in the postseason, and they're going to look like world beaters near the end of the regular season, and then they're going to get knocked out in the first round.
I love this question. I'm making sure to refresh Twitter every other second just so I can be on top of any breaking news. Funny enough, Mo, I literally stopped the intro mid-intro because the James Harden trade got announced mid-intro. So I'm like, nope, cut it off. We got to get into this right away. I get a kick out of this. I see somebody posting, who would you rather have Giannis play with, Norman Bam or Steph and Jimmy? I'm like, who would pick Norman Bam in that situation? Like, you just say Steph.
I'm gonna say I don't need Steph and Jimmy. If you just say Steph, I'm taking Steph.
I don't even know where you're getting offense if you're Miami. If you try to, it's a weird concept, right? Because Giannis can pretty much score at the rim at will, but it would just make life a little bit more complicated with someone like Bam, who doesn't really have consistent range, so you're going to have an extra defender plugged into the gap at the entire time. Granted, you run into that same spacing issue if you go into Minnesota, him and Rudy Gobert. I know Giannis can still score with the big in the paint. It just makes it a lot more difficult for him, obviously. So it'll be interesting.
It does, but I feel like there's a way that you can stagger their minutes to where they're not always on the floor together, because I don't think, well, look, I was going to say you can't underestimate Rudy's value, but you and I both know that's all people do. So, yes, I don't think they're an ideal match, but I also would point out that Giannis has improved his mid-range. He's shooting, I believe, a career high 3-point percentage this year. I'm not saying he's making a living shooting like 7 or 8 threes a game, but I would, to me, to give up on Rudy Gobert, that's almost like a true changing of the guard, because he's been their rim protector for more than half a decade. Moving off of him is huge in a lot of ways. I get it, but who's going to be the guy that steps in and becomes a starting center if he's not there anymore?
They'd have to pretty much hope that Joe, their rookie that they just drafted, is ready for action right away. I think that'll work in the regular season, but playoffs will do something to these young centers, so that would be the concern. Would he be playoff ready? Say Con in the 3-point contest. That's awesome.
I love Con. I'm a huge Con Knipple fan.
I love this report, by the way. It's like, by the way, I'd still find the Warriors trade package so funny. Like, I just saw a report. It's like, well, the Warriors are willing to trade Draymond Green, Pods, and Jonathan Kuminga for Giannis. I'm like, that's great. I am also willing to trade in my 07 Toyota Corolla for a date with Sabrina Carpenter if she wants to bite. But I don't think that's reasonable. And I don't think that trade offer is reasonable.
Right. So you're telling me, if you're telling me that's the Warriors package, you're basically telling me the Lakers have a chance, right? Like we can offer better than that.
All right. It's like, say the NBA script is in. Harden is a castle. They can trade him for LeBron in the summer. Hey, that retirement tour in Cleveland would hit like crack.
It would, but Absolutely not. James Harden will never be a Laker. No, that's not a script. That is not a true script.
Trades at Sega Genesis. Yeah. No, absolutely.
I agree 100%. I agree with that 100%. Right.
I don't understand. Like, you can tell a lot of the national media are just trying to push Giannis to Golden State, right? Because I keep getting told, Mo, well, they can trade Jimmy Butler. I'm like, the same guy who I just watched his ACL tear like a week ago. Like, that's not a positive asset for literally any team. He's 37 coming off an ACL tear.
You know what's bad, Brett? They're saying that the value that you get from Jimmy is he can be an expiring contract. And I'm like, but his contract's not expiring.
Yeah, no, it's I say his contract. He's literally has a player option, I believe, for next year, which he's not declining that.
100% he's opted into that, right? Because he's probably not going to play 99% if at all next year, right?
Say like Jonathan DNP Kuminga is not of any value to the Milwaukee Bucks. And if you think Pods holds any positive value for Milwaukee, I got a bridge to sell you.
If that's the Warriors package, then obviously like you said, the media seems to want Giannis and Steph to get together. And look, I wouldn't oppose it, but just from a common sense standpoint, Golden State doesn't have anything Milwaukee wants.
No, absolutely. Say Sabonis to the Raptors is getting close.
They're gonna love him, and then they're gonna hate him. Sabonis is a terrific offensive player. He is, but there's the other side of the floor. It's not. It doesn't go as smoothly.
You know what's funny? I think if you're Toronto, though, that's okay, but because at least he's out there, right? They paid Jakob Poeltl all this money to be hurt, which, by the way, I think we both agreed that when as soon as they paid that contract and agreed to it, we both knew it was a bad contract. Jakob was dealing with back issues last year, so I don't know why they thought an extension was the way to go. But if they can find a way to get Sabonis while dumping Jakob to the Kings, even if it costs them a first or two, I would jump on that.
Kyle said RJ Barrett to the Kings, right? That's so Kings like. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I don't understand the logic. I don't understand the logic of that. I really don't. I get what Sabonis can do because he's such a strong offensive player, great passer, screener, can dive to the basket, high basketball IQ. And yeah, he doesn't have to be a great defender, not when you've got Barnes and a couple of other guys on the wings flanking him. I'm always thinking about, are you making moves to literally compete in the East? I think Sabonis helps them because of what he can bring to the table offensively, how you can run things through him. So I do like it from that standpoint. I don't know what the Kings are doing, but then I never do know what the Kings. I'm not gonna lie, I never do know what the Kings are doing.
Yeah, I had my buddy. That's the same thing on Twitter. He goes, I don't know what the Kings are planning. I said, to be fair, I feel like the Kings are also wondering what the Kings are planning. It just doesn't feel like they make moves with any sense of logic. It's just like, hey, that's a semi-noticeable name. That'll sell some tickets. Sure, why not? Yeah, we'll take Russ and Dennis Schroeder. People know those names. That'll sell some tickets. Why not?
Why not? Let me put something out there. With Harden on his way to the Cavs, and it's odd, obviously, because of the timing, because the Clippers have been one of the hotter teams in the league, and you just took away Kawhi Leonard's running mate, and I get it, bringing in Darius Garland, who is a talented player, but if you're the Clippers, I guess what I'm saying is, why wouldn't you be looking to try to pursue moving Kawhi as well?
Yeah, I think that I think it's coming. Like, let me put it this way: I just don't see this working out that well going forward. So I don't think it'll be at the deadline, but I think this offseason we get a Kawhi Leonard trade. Darius Garland has barely played this season, and
right.
Availability is a big reason why James Harden really is an upgrade over him. But also the fact that 27-year-old in his athletic prime, Darius Garland, still isn't on the same level as 36-year-old James Harden is probably another reason to just make that trade. And you got to pick for it.
And a pick, right. I'm just saying that look at what James Harden could do. I've seen James Harden have games where he's made 5 shots and end up with over 30 points because he can still get to the foul line.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think people are just over thinking the James Harden aspect of this. Like they're like, oh, Darius Garland's so young, he's only 27, and I'm
Right.
well, he's a good player when he's healthy, but he can't stay healthy, and he's a guard that relies on a lot of shiftiness to get open, and when he keeps having leg and toe injuries, I don't have a ton of faith that he's going to age that well going forward. So if you can get a player like James Harden that for 2 years that can open up your title window wider than it is with Darius Garland, and you can get a pick out of it, I think that's a no-brainer at that point.
And if the Cavs come up short, like you said, this Harden situation, your window is probably about 2 years. Even though Garland is like 10 years younger, Harden is still the better basketball player. It's not just the availability thing. Harden is a better basketball player than Darius Garland.
That you're right. It was supposed to be Sexton and Garland before the Donovan Mitchell trade happened. Say that brings me back. It's like when the 76ers were the young rookies dubbed themselves the Feds back in 2017, and that was supposed to be the future.
I remember that.
If anybody doesn't know, it was Fultz, Embiid, Dario, as in Dario Saric, and Simmons, as in Ben Simmons.
Ooh, man.
I still don't know what. It's so weird to see what happened to that squad still to this day. I think the weirdest one, in all reality, to me, it just might be Markelle Fultz. We can talk about Ben Simmons, but we kind of saw in real time what happened to him. Watching Markelle Fultz dominate the league to become this no doubt about it #1 pick, dominating college to that extent, and then come to the NBA and forgets how to shoot, was just one of the more mind-boggling things that I've seen in a minute.
And it became so mental. You know how you do the thing where you look at the film of the college players come out and you kind of watch their game. I'd heard a little bit about Fultz, but when I looked at him on film, I wasn't blown away by him. I didn't see it. I did not see it. I saw a guy who could score, but he wasn't a great shooter. He was okay shooter, but he wasn't a great shooter. He had a really strange release. That was one of those things that had they gotten the Fultz, and what I mean by the Fultz move right, meaning they should have drafted Tatum, I believe it was, right? Did they come out at the same time?
Yeah, that was Fultz, Ball, Tatum were the top 3 picks.
Yeah, had they got it, but then again, what am I talking about? Had the Lakers got it right, Kyle would be a miserable guy. but you know what I mean? But it is what it is.
Kyle would have Lonzo and LeVar.
Yeah, okay. Okay. But yeah, I just thought I didn't get that. I didn't get the Fultz thing. The Sixers went out of their way, obviously, trust the process, tanking, and they loaded up on all those lottery picks. And obviously, you hit on Embiid. I know what happened to Simmons, but everybody needs to be reminded for 4 years, all NBA defender, all-star, and all NBA player, 16, 8, and 8. That's not a bust. I know what happened to him in the series versus Atlanta, and he never looked close to like that again. But before that, nobody was calling Ben Simmons anything other than an elite player.
No, absolutely. Kyrie and Dion Waiters said they were better than Wall and Beal. What's funny? Peak for peak, the answer is definitely no. Like, okay, is Kyrie the best player out of those four?
Yes.
Yes. But Pete John Wall was definitely he was a lot closer to Kyrie than he was to Deion Waiters, and I'll take even like 2017 young Bradley Beal over whatever version you want of Deion Waiters.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any version of Deion Waiters. His best version is better, close to being as good as the best version of Bradley Beal. And I'm not a huge Bradley Beal fan. I think Deion Waiters was good. Um, you know what Deion Waiters was. Um, if you look at his playing style, he's the guy that's on. He has a similar playing style to Rashard McCants. He does. The only difference is he had more than a cup of coffee in the league. But he wasn't that good. He was all right. Let's not hype up the Deion Waiters bandwagon. Like Isaiah Ryder was a better player than Deion Waiters. So you know.
I'll say I don't think Ja Okafor was that much of a mystery. His play style just didn't mesh well with the direction that the league was going. Very slow footed, not a good defender, and didn't have any range. He was just a straight post up guy who couldn't pass. So,
And he had no motor at all. No,
like
motor.
if he was drafted in like 1999, he would have been probably very good. He'd been terrific. But in a league where the spacing was just going further and further away from the basket, that was just Ja Okafor's worst nightmare. No way Ainge was taking Lonzo fair.
See, even Kyle knows. No, because Ainge is smart. But my guy, who's supposed to be one of the great, well, he is one of the greatest players of all time. I'll never forget the press conference. He said it's only a matter of time when it's all said and done before Lonzo's jersey goes right up there, right next to mine, and Worthy's and Kareem. And I was like, yeah, and look, it was no shade against Lonzo. I saw Lonzo. I saw him what he did in college. I didn't see what Magic saw. I didn't see what Magic saw. He was not that kind of player. And it's not that Lonzo was a bad player. Let's be clear in this. Lonzo was a very good player. What he was never going to be, though, is he was never going to be a great player.
I miss DeJohn Wagner on the Cavs with Ricky Davis, Darius Miles, Carlos Boozer, and Desagnia Diop. That's quite the collection of Cavaliers players. Shout out to Desagnia Diop.
I mean, Wags could put up numbers because he ain't passing the ball. When he wasn't hurt, Deshaun Wagner could put up numbers, but he wasn't passing the rock.
Yeah, say Wagner. Say, got Danny Ainge pulled off another fleece today. Oh, getting Vooch. Fair. Say, Simons was never part of their long-term plan, so getting somebody who is in Vooch, and even if it costs him a second, that's more than okay. 99 Okafor was built for 1989.
Yeah, I think he had a game. I would say that if I was going to do a comp, his game was very similar to Klay Thompson's dad's game. Okafor had a game a lot like Michael Thompson's.
I went with 99 because I feel like Okafor would be an absolute, brutal spot in like 89. See, here's the thing, yeah, like 99, like in that 2000s era, that's when a lot of your best centers in the league started to age out. And you still had to deal with like prime Shaq, but once you got underneath him, the centers were more slim pickings. That's when you start getting into like Raptor Hakeem and Magic Patrick Ewing. Look, 1989. I say 1989. You're gonna watch Okafor guard a lot of these guys in their primes. He'd be having an awful time in 1989 too. Say, wouldn't Deion Waiters be Spencer Dinwiddie today?
That's interesting. Similar. I get that.
Oh, no, yeah, I'm mistaken the team. Yeah, Trader Danny got Jaren Jackson Jr. Look, I was just obviously watching the end of the Celtics game, which they pulled off the win, and I mistakenly said that he was still in Boston. But no, I do like that for the Jazz that they got Jaren Jackson. Yeah, he built the current roster mostly for the Celtics. We needed Hibbert versus Ja Okafor. Ja Okafor and Greg Monroe had the best footwork in the post. Hey, that is Al Jefferson erasure, and I will have none of that. Big Al Jefferson could score in a phone booth with the best of them.
Big Al didn't have a lot of range, but he did have footwork. I give it. He was really skilled on the block. I give you that. I agree.
Yeah, he would always. I always loved watching him go to work because he'd always do like the MJ thing where he just hold the ball out here with one hand, palming
Right.
it, just waiting. Said Big Al was one of my favorite players to watch growing up. Al would up fake his mom in the post. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Facts.
Say I've definitely loved the trade deadline so far. The Mo, do you got any bold predictions for some names you think that might go out in the next couple days?
I think if it's bold, I think you're right. The Clippers will wait till the offseason. But if I were the Clippers, I would strike while the iron's hot. More importantly, I'd strike while Kawhi is healthy.
Oh, so I know this is and one, but I would love to get some quick thoughts from you, Mo. Did you enjoy the Royal Rumble?
I think I enjoyed it more than most people did. I got it wrong because my picks were the same exact ones you had. So I got it way wrong. I'm not mad that Liv won because I'm a huge Liv fan, and I'm not mad that Reigns won because I like the Tribal Chief, but I'm with you. I really wanted one of the new guys to get their moment. You know what I mean? I'm again not disappointed completely, but I feel like they went back to the old formula. Like when Reigns won, I felt like, oh, they went to the default. And I'm not saying that Reigns and Punk won't be a banger because I think it will. But I wouldn't have minded if one of the younger guys stole it from somebody and they put some young blood in there. But Triple H wanted to go another way, and he did. And like I said, he'll figure it out. But I was impressed with what Hobbs did. I was impressed with what Obafemi did. Lash Legend, like I was like, what Lash Legend did when you watched it, I think that's what they thought Jade Cargill was gonna be. But Jade isn't as agile as Lash Legend is. Like I think Lash Legend is ahead of Jade in terms of her movement in the ring.
No, absolutely. I think at the end of the day, I didn't. So I like the women's rumble. I thought the women's rumble was fantastic.
No, I did not love LA Knight coming back, Kyle. You know I did.
Say, I thought AJ versus Gunther was a great match. I thought Drew and Sammy was what it had to be. Make Drew look dominant as we go into WrestleMania season. I didn't mind Roman winning. I didn't like how the match was structured in the second half of it. I thought it was flowing great. I thought we had some fun moments. But my biggest issue started, Mo, when Brock Lesnar came.
I knew you were going to say that. Me too.
Look, if we have a spot where we throw everybody around, everybody's laying there for a minute while we have two guys stare off or whatever, cool. But we can't do that same spot for 5 minutes in a row. Like, we have 10 guys just laying on there, like, watching Brock and Oba stare down, waiting for the next entrant to come in so they can toss them over instead. It just felt like it slowed it down too much. And then right after that, you had the Jey Uso heat up, which Jey took forever getting to the ring to a point where they just eliminated Lesnar during his entrance. Like in a time-sensitive match, like the heat off just seemed to throw off the flow of it, and Brock just having to aura farm. I hope I never see Brock Lesnar in another Royal Rumble again. Just every year, it's the same thing with him. He comes in, and the entire match just stalls because they let him stand in the ring alone for 5 minutes and screech like a pterodactyl, throwing people out.
I'm with you, partner. I like Jey Uso. I'm kind of getting the sick of the long entrance. Like find a way to speed it up, man. Like Jesus Christ, God. Like that was almost as bad as Travis Scott.
Yeah, Brock got eliminated. I'm like, wait, we're not going to make a big deal out of that, and then they flash right back over. over. He hasn't made it out of the crowd yet. I'm like, okay, let's hurry up. And then he got to ringside and then started going back and forth, didn't get in the ring at all. Yeah, I thought the first half of it was flowing well, but then they got to that second half with Brock and the yeet off. And I think Logan Paul's a lot better than people give him credit for, but he doesn't need to be in every Final Four. I thought it should have been like Obafemi in the Final Four. By the way, they had a moment too to let Obafemi look like the next big thing by throwing out Brock.
Right.
And they just went with the cheap Brock elimination where he sneaks up on him and throws him over. So, like, I didn't like how Oba got eliminated. I also, like, I've got nothing against Logan Paul. I just feel like you replace him with like a Javon Evans, somebody to really show that they're the future of the, going forward in that Final Four would have been better. But overall, like, first half of the Rumble, I think I'd give it like overall like a 7 out of 10, and literally all the points lost are just from the second half of that men's Rumble. But
I like that.
Reigns versus Punk is going to be good.
Let me ask you this: which one did you prefer or enjoy more, the women's or the men's?
Oh, women's by far.
Same.
Yeah,
same.
Say like the beginning with Alexa and Charlotte was a lot of fun. I thought all the NXT women got some good run, like Kalani Jordan, and then the Lash Legend looked like $1 million. The Soul Ruka finish it where she went for the Soul Snatcher and she got shoved to the floor was a lot of fun.
There's so many great women performers, though, Brett. My God, you just said it. Kalani Jordan, Lash Legend, Soul Ruka. I feel like she has the most dangerous finish in wrestling. Like, I think she's got to come up with another finisher just to mix it up a little bit because I feel like her finisher almost hurts her as much as does her opponent.
Yeah, and even like Kiana James comes in and first thing she does is like a 450. I'm like, what in the world? Yeah, I figure we'll finish off with some more. I just want to also throw in this about a potential Giannis trade, Mo. I think people forget about this part too. You better make the move sooner rather than later. If you let this Giannis stay on the Bucks for too long, you know what's going to happen? They're going to run it back. Look, when John Horst has assets, he makes moves. He might make the wrong moves at times, but he makes moves. If you wait too long, Horst is going to have access to even more first-rounders to trade. The Bucks also have a very good chance at getting a high pick in this year's draft lottery. I guess maybe not that high, but a decent chance. So if the lottery balls roll their way, for example, and let's say they get picked like in the top 5, they just got to make sure, I believe they finish below the Pelicans, which I think I'm not worried about that. But, if they get a high lottery pick plus more assets to potentially move, don't rule out Giannis end up signing that extension because if you give Horst a chance, he's going to take it. Whether he makes the right move or not, we'll see.
I actually agree with everything you're saying because I feel like everybody's talking about the Warriors made a significant offer, but when you actually run down what their significant offer was, it's not that significant at all. And I feel like if I'm the Bucks, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to settle. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. Maybe it is time to part ways. But if you're going to offer, if your best offer is something close to what Golden State is offering, I am going to run it back. I am going to get some assets, put some guys around Giannis. I'm going to give him that extension, and we'll just play it out.
No, absolutely. Say it. By the way, Mo, as soon as 2:00 hits on Thursday and Giannis is still a Milwaukee Buck, one of two things are going to happen. Giannis gets traded, and I'm going to give Shams absolutely no credit for beating a dead horse for months and months and months.
Facts.
Actually, they've been trying to trade Giannis for years. What am I talking about? But he gets no credit. But I really cannot wait for Giannis to still be on the Bucks once we get past Thursday. Because next time we come on, it could be Friday for the morning show, maybe next Thursday for and one. Oh, I'm going to give Sham so much crap.
You should, because you talked about how the media wants Giannis to go to Golden State. Nobody wants Giannis to get traded more than Shams because he's been talking about Giannis getting traded for 2 years.
Yeah, and ironically, Shams is on team Antetokounmpo there for the celebrity game. I've already been. I'll give Rivers credit for being funny at the end of his press conference. He said that Shams is on the trade block from Team Giannis. So
I like it.
But no, Giannis did have a sit-down interview with one of our, local reporters, and he said, if you ask me what I really want to do deep down in my heart, I want to be a Milwaukee Buck until I retire and win another championship here.
That's good enough for me. Good enough for me.
He said this a million times. He's going to keep putting pressure on ownership. Like, we know he does that. But like I said, even if you think they're the wrong moves, he's put pressure on ownership, and they responded with Damian Lillard. He put pressure on ownership again, and they had the guts to waive Damian Lillard and sign Miles Turner. Not a lot of GMs would be willing to waive Dame like the Bucks did, but I'll give him some credit. Like I said, at the end of the day, as hard as I've been on John Horst sometimes, like especially last year at the deadline when he traded Chris Middleton, I went off on John Horst, but I'll give him credit for the fact that when given a chance, he normally delivers something.
I'm going to give him a chance, too, because I don't think people realize how difficult it is to be a GM, a small market GM, and you've got a transcendent superstar like who's at the very edge of his prime, and you have to make a decision because because the Bucks have been a championship title contender for like the better part of the last 5 or 6 years. And then the run comes to an end, and can you reload and put more talent around him, or do you reach that point where you're like, I guess this is the point where we part ways? And I think that John Horst, does he deserve some criticism? Sure, but he also deserves some praise because he has tried to do everything in his power to retain Giannis by constantly shuffling that roster around to try to put talent around him. And sometimes it's worked and sometimes it hasn't worked as well, but he hasn't been afraid to make those moves. Like a lot of GMs would have just stand pat and said, no, I'm going to keep Middleton and Drew, and we're just going to ride Middleton, Drew, and Giannis till the wheels fall off. And Giannis wanted them to spice it up a little bit, and he was open to that. So I do respect the fact that he does listen to his superstar and he's willing to take chances.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Even when, and I'm at the end of the day, I'll be happy for Giannis, whatever happens with him. So if he ends up deciding that it's best for him to go, don't worry, I'll give him that standing O when he comes back. I'll probably get a Giannis jersey of whatever team he goes to, but obviously, if he retires a Buck, I will absolutely be happy with that, and I will get a ticket to his final game in Milwaukee, whenever that may be. So, regardless, I'll support my guy wherever he goes, but also regardless, Shams, you are an absolute fraud.
Agreed.
Somebody said, Shaq is in his Celtics, Shams is in his Celtic Shaq era. I'm like, nah, even Celtic Shaq is better than what Shams is doing right now. I said Shams is in his Bucks Pau Gasol era.
That's rough.
Or we can go Hornets Tony Parker. That's about as much credit as I'm giving him.
That's even worse. Wow.
No, but so like I said, it's good to see you back, Mo. I hope you had a great vacation, by the way.
I had a blast, partner, but I am glad to be back with the crew.
No, absolutely. Like I said, this was your episode of Band 1 for the week. Fortunately, I have to work on Thursday, but we'll for sure be back next week. Maybe we'll be up on Friday morning. We'll let you know. Anything you want to add before we get on out of here, Mo?
Appreciate the chat. Appreciate the energy. And more than anything, appreciate you, partner.
Say thank you, T3&D, Kyle, everybody in the chat. We definitely appreciate all of you. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night.